Hello, welcome to this episode of Hammering Down. I'm your host, Kaylor Hodges. I'm hoping you're having a great day. We're going to be talking a little bit about Legion's penalty loss to Indy 11. And so, usually, the way I've been doing these lately, because frankly, it's a lot easier for me, just to be completely honest with you. And also, I think it helps me kind of narrate, I guess, kind of the match and get my thoughts on it, is usually by doing a press conference. Listen to the press conference, letting you hear Coach Briggs' thoughts, and then I kind of give my own thoughts in between. Well, obviously, I was not in Indianapolis, but Timothy Bellin from bhamsports.net was. So go over there and get some of the quotes that came from Briggs. Briggs said, and I quote, well, I got to find the quote just to make sure, but but he said that this was only the second time that he has seen Birmingham play a full 90-minute match. He says, for 90 minutes, we were very good. For 90 minutes, we played the football that I want us to play. They looked like they enjoyed it. They looked like they had fun. That's what it's about. He went on to say that it was the first or is the second time as the coach of Birmingham Legion that he has seen them play a full 90. The other time as first match versus Tampa Bay. And I agree. It was an overall amazing performance from Legion, and penalties are what they are. And because of that, because Legion made it to penalties, they still have a chance to win the group. So let me explain a little bit how the Jägermeister Cups works in this case. Because it went to penalties, the winner of the penalty shootout only got 2 points of the full 3. The only way to get full 3 points is to win in regulation. The team that loses gets 1 point. So it's treated as a draw. Because of that, Legion are only behind Indy 11 by 1 point. Okay. Only behind by 1 point. So here's the situation Legion can top the group if Indy loses to FC Tulsa in regulation or in a penalty shootout. So if Legion, if and the and is important, and Legion beat Ford Madison. Okay. So Indy 11 have to take on a really good FC Tulsa team. We'll see how much they rotate because Tulsa has no chance of winning the Jägermeister Cup. They can't make it into the knockout stage. So we'll see what that means. But Indy has to play FC Tulsa, and they have to either win a penalty shootout or in regulation. And Legion needs to win in regular time. So what that means, if that's what happens, if that is what happens, if Legion win outright versus Ford Madison of League One and Indy 11 drop at least 2 points, they lose in a penalty shootout or they lose outright, Legion win the group, no questions asked. Here's the second part. If Legion win outright versus Ford Madison, they will be in the knockouts no matter what because there's a wild card system and there are only 2 teams right now that are on 7 points. Okay. So the way it works is that it goes to the whoever finishes in second place of each group is available to make the knockouts or is available to be the wild card. Okay. So Legion are currently in second. They are eligible to be in the wild card. The first tiebreaker is points. Hartford and Legion are both on 7 points. If Hartford and Legion both win, Hartford and Legion will be in the knockout stages. They will go on. However, they cannot host any matches. Now, so because of that, if Legion win outright, they will be in the knockouts no matter what Indy does. You win, you're in, math. Okay. So don't mess with the rest of it. If we win in penalties, it gets a little bit hairy. It's all about how many goals were scored, not goal difference. It's how many goals were scored because they want to promote scoring in this. So it's about how many goals scored. But win outright, you're in. And hope that Tulsa does you a favor so you can have a chance to host a playoff game. That's what we're looking for. Okay. So a lot of stuff to kind of go over with this match. I have a film study that I want to do, but I kind of want to discuss some of the questions that I got on Twitter I got some questions on Twitter, so I want to throw them out there. Well, I said recording hammering down tomorrow. Today is tomorrow. Little Twilight Zone stuff going on. Any questions, comments, or concerns? And I want to start off with Chris Leggett, who said transitions have been very slow. You think that quicker counters will help produce some goals? We're going to talk about that in the film study. So I think that's going to be quite interesting to get into because I agree with that wholeheartedly. Which goes to Cole Bensinger's question. Where does the goal scoring problem begin? Midfield distribution, holding on to the ball too long, players on the same page, aware of the others alike, goal awareness, finishing ability. Seems like we have the talent, but there's just something missing or off. I think that this film study is going to show you exactly what's wrong with the goal scoring. I think there's a lot of facets that are close. In fact, again, check out the question or check out everything that we had or everything that Mark Briggs said with Timothy Bellin on the bhamsports.net. It's really good stuff. And I got to find the exact quote before we get there. Let's see. I will get there because it talked about scoring. Okay, we will get there. Give me a second. All right, here it is. It's so frustrating because the goals in this tournament are critical. It's true. The tiebreaker in the Jägermeister Cup is goals. It has to be goals. We create a lot of opportunities. There's only so much you can do as a coach. You can get them there, but I can't kick it in myself. I'm really proud of them, though. The effort they gave me, they showed me, or the effort they gave me, the quality they showed. And the one that really stood out to me is the way we moved the ball, the opportunities we created, getting people in the box, numbers in the box. We didn't take the chances. I understand that. But that's the final detail. I'm so proud of how they performed. Again, it's the final detail. And I think you're going to see a lot of what's going on here. Before we get into the film, I do want to mention the last question I kind of got, which was from Dylan Reed. And it was, what point do we start looking at who in the squad is going to be gone next season? I think that unless they are tied down to contract, which I don't have those in front of me right now, I think you can assume that anybody who is not tied down to the contract next year is on the chopping block. I think there are players earning their way back. For example, if I was Coach Briggs, just to be honest here, just seeing what I see out of him, I think that guys like Jake Ruth, who I don't believe has a contract in the next season, I would offer him, right? Obviously, it's up to him if he wants to come back, but I would offer Jake Ruth. We'll talk about that in the film study. Guys like Enzo, is he going to retire? We don't know. Guys like Matt Van Okel, is he going to retire? I don't know. Other guys, I'm trying to think across who started. We don't really know what Turnbull's contract is like. We know Fanuel Kavita is through next year. We know Tyler Pasher is through next year. Ronaldo Damus has an optional fee. So if Legion like him and like what they've done, which talking to Briggs, it seems like they do like him a lot. I like him a lot. I think that he is someone who's going to be around. I think Sevatrek Garthen is someone who's going to stick around long term. I think that they think very highly of him. Rami Zamuda is going to stick around so they can sell him, obviously. Guys who are on loan, Roman Torres and Thiago Suarez, they're going to be gone because they're going to return on loan to their parent club. Guys like Danny Trejo, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it's going to work with him. So there's a lot of players I think that unless you have seen like they're going to be here next year, you can assume they're going to be on the chopping block. Go ahead, start preparing yourself for that because it's a new coach. It's a brand new staff. You are trying to figure out every little detail along the way. So let's go ahead and get into the film. All right. So no video here, and I'm going to go ahead, or no sound here. And I am going to go ahead and pull this up full screen so you can see a little bit better. I want to just kind of look at this quick moment at the very beginning of the match, and this will hopefully be chronological, where Legion are defending pretty well. They are compact, really hard to break down. You see kind of a 5-man back line with 3 players going out to press, cutting off any kind of passing space. Moses Mensah does a really good job of getting the ball away from Rendon. Trejo kind of gives it away, but wins it back really well and is able to try to get it out of danger. Now, this is where I want you to see what they are trying to do all game long. The idea is to beat their right center back over the top. The entire game, beat their right center back over the top. Exactly what they do here. It's a nice touchdown by, I believe, Tyler Pasher, who holds the ball up, waits for other players to show. Oh, sorry, that was Seba Tregarthen, now passing to Tyler Pasher. And here's the help. It goes along the way. This was the story for this entire match. Okay. We get the ball into the middle. You see Fanuel Kavita on the left-hand side underneath the score bug pointing out to, hey, we practice going long over the top on this right-hand side. That's exactly what they do. You're going to see a ton of this throughout the match. Okay. And Seba does a good job of holding it up. Now we're to Tyler Pasher, and they're just trying to get some players behind the ball. Now, I think there's a question of could they be a little bit faster on this transition? Possibly. But also you are away from home only 3 minutes into this match. You need to try to take control of the pace of play. And I think this is exactly what they're trying to do. And Enzo does a pretty good job of holding off, I believe that was Foster, and just trying to create some opportunities. And that opportunity does come with a long ball over the top to Ronaldo, which doesn't really work out in the end. But again, this is kind of what they wanted to do. They wanted to be able to switch play. And here's Jake Roof. We are about to see a lot of Jake Roof, good and bad, but mostly good. Okay. Sees it. Pasher. Pasher sees the run of Damus over the top. Doesn't work out, but it will. Okay. Here's one of the first big moments from Roof. Okay. This was an awesome ball. Roof gets the ball, picks his head up. He sees the run over the top. You can see it on the left-hand side, right above the Y. And that run is just going long, and he pings it perfectly over the top. This is awesome. Now, on the Legion broadcast, there was conversation by Morgan Copes, who he was talking about possibly switching your right wing and your left wing, Trejo and Pasher, and asking if that's the way that they should do it because they need to be able to feed the ball into the middle. Obviously, having these inverted wingers is great because they can create shots, but they can't create crosses too well. And it seems like talking to Briggs and seeing how Briggs played in Sacramento, he wants to have those fullbacks be the one to create the crosses and be able to get into these channels from the inverted wingers. Well, here, I think you see a good crossing opportunity if this is Trejo. Instead, he's having to take it to the line, take a step, and get a kind of a weak cross across. Easy for me to say. And it's pretty easily snuffed out. No real chance created from it. It's kind of a half chance. But I think this is a situation where you do see the downsides of having those inverted wingers. So those right-footed players on the left side, the left-footed players on the right side, where I think first time shoot this across to Trejo, it's a tap in, but he can't do it. Not a left footer or not a right footer can get across. Here's another moment here where I love this ball movement. I love the ball movement here. We're actually watching the other highlights. Sorry, I'm bad at my job. Okay, so check this out. Ball gets played up. Now, from here, Seba's going to pass it to Enzo and just go. He is just going to run. And Enzo knows that he is going to draw an attention from the player on the left-hand side of your screen. So Seba's running. And instead of just instantly playing a ball and knowing that it's just going to be a lackluster chance, he plays it back to Roof, who now, because Enzo played this ball back, he has taken out not one, not two, but 3 defenders in one pass. Check this out. Again, watch it again. I want you to see this. Seba touches. He is taking one runner with him. Now the runner that is supposed to be going over to Roof or was on Roof is now trying to press Enzo. Now somebody else is also trying to press Enzo, who's coming out of the midfield. And who does Roof have to pass to? It's Seba Tregarthen, who is on his horse. All Roof has to do is ping this over the top, which is what he does. Look how much space he has right above the D now. He has so much space to kind of work in behind, and he wins it well. Now he goes over to Damus, whose touch kind of eludes him a little bit. But even so, like the defender, it kind of forces the defender to be in a tough spot because I want you to look at the gravity of Ronaldo Damus. Okay. You're going to see this later on too, where Damus takes a touch. Three players are on him. Nobody cares that Danny Trejo is to his left or Sebastian Garthen is to his right. Ronaldo Damus has three players on him, and it forces a bad touch where if Danny Trejo is in form, this is a goal. Instead, it hits the crossbar. But we're going to be saying that a lot, that if Trejo is truly in form, it's a goal. But it's just not. But again, look at the people that he brings in. And all this starts because of it's a relatively simple play, but so smart. Jake Roof plays it over to Seba. Seba plays it up to Enzo. Enzo goes back to Roof. Three defenders drawn in. Roof plays a really well-weighted ball right over the top. Seba plays it over to Ronaldo. Ronaldo's able to just kind of force some pressure. It falls to Trejo, hits the crossbar. It's a really good moment. Here's some more moments of just some nice pressure where I just want you to see what Enzo does here. He picks his head up and sees the run into the half space. So I do believe this is Tyler Pasher making this run. And again, I just want you to kind of follow him backward now. Okay. So you're going to see this run start now. Before Enzo even turns, Pasher is making a run that's going to be splitting these defenders that are right under the score bug, okay? So he starts to make the run. He sees Enzo turn. There he goes, right over the top, and he touches it down well. And honestly, it's a nice chance, and Tyler's not a right-footed player. Again, this might be a chance that a Danny Trejo might be able to finish because he's right-footed. It's possible. This is a lot of revisionist history. This is hindsight being 2020. But, these situations, obviously Tyler's a competent footballer. He knows what to do, but it's still his weak foot that he's trying to finish with on the end of the day. But Soltz makes a good save. But again, this is just what they've been trying to do all year long now is find those goals in the half spaces. They are making these runs into these half spaces, and they can clip them over the top. And when it works, it really works. Salt is a really good goalkeeper. Don't forget that. Really good goalkeeper. All right. Here's another moment where we have a ball that kind of goes over the top, and Indy player just completely screws this one up. And Damus is on top of this, and he goes to take a touch, and the touch is a little heavy here and can't quite get it away. But this is how you kind of feed Damus is, again, if he has a little bit better of a touch here, right? Check this out. A little bit better of a touch. I mean, his touch inside is a good idea. It's just a little too heavy. If he can get to it, this is a goal. This is easily a goal. But he's just not able to get it to it because, again, the touch wasn't quite perfect. Okay. Here's Roof, plays the ball over to Delgado. And Delgado, everybody that you kind of heard from, he has been sort of self-proclaimed, I think, but also he's very accomplished. The best passer on the team, right? And I want you to check this out. So the ball's coming back over to Delgado, and he kind of fakes the pass over to Roof, which Roof ends up finishing this match with the second most touches on the night of anybody on the team. And that's the way it's been for a lot this year is he gets a lot of touches. He fakes the pass over, creates some space, rolls the ball out, and is able to really ping one over the top. And look how good of a ball this is. No, he doesn't have the leg of Matt Van Oekel, where Matt Van Oekel can legitimately go 18-yard box to 18-yard box from a goal kick. Like, 6 yard box, basically. But this is accurate. Just look at this long ball over the top. And if Delgado is going to be the goalkeeper of the future, it's going to be because of moments like this. He's a good shot stopper, but his distribution's special. And I want you to just kind of look at what Trejo does here. Instead of just trying to make a touch to run at the goalkeeper, he touches it down to Ronaldo Damus, who Damus now just passes it over to Trejo. Trejo kind of looks around. And this is where I believe that we are seeing quote unquote slow transitions. So check this out. We have Trejo right here, touches it down to Ronaldo. And here, Ronaldo does a great job to get it over to Trejo. I think that Trejo does a good job to find Seba Tregarthen. I think this is a moment where I think that Tregarthen needs to be putting a cross into the box. We saw that a lot with the Sacramento teams that Briggs had, especially with Jack Gurr. Again, Jack Gurr is a special talent, like USL MVP level talent. But this is where I think I would want to see a cross into the box. Instead, we pass it over to the middle. Again, we swing it around. And it does nothing comes of this. It just ends up going back to the keeper. You even see Briggs saying, like, pass it back, kind of hold possession. Holding possession is a great idea, but you had a crossing opportunity and you had Indy on the back ropes. I think at the very least, force their back line to make a mistake, and I think you have a chance. Now, here was a moment where we kind of have what I think is the biggest weak link when it comes to this team, and it's transitions. Again, we talk about transitions once again. There's not a lot of pace in this back line. You see a little bit of Jake Roof having to he's a little bit slower, and that's fine because he's really good positionally, but he has to – they are all tracking back and trying to take care of these moments. But you're going to see a lot of these moments as teams kind of sit back, invite pressure, and try to beat us on those counterattack opportunities, beat them in the transition. The transitions back home are kind of slow. And I think you saw a lot of that versus Indy, and that caused a lot of trouble. Legion dealt with it well in this situation, but again, it happened a lot. Now, here's a moment where we had Trejo ends up intercepting the ball back really well, Damus back to help support. And check this out. Again, we were looking for these long diagonal balls into the half space. That's what we've been looking for this entire game. And Lasso sees it, which, by the way, I think Lasso had his best game of the year. This is the most positive I can think of a performance that he's had. Again, wins over to Damus. Damus finds Lasso, who sees a Seba Tregarthen streaking up the field, finds him in the half space, where he doesn't really touch down perfectly, but it's fine. It ends up being a decent chance. We have, again, Pasher going back over to Lasso. Lasso is now going back over across. Now over to Moses Mensah. Again, slightly slow transition moment where I wish that Seba Tregarthen would have taken a cross. And guess what? Moses Mensah ends up taking the cross. But fun fact, that's the only cross that Moses Mensah attempted in the entire match. Seba Tregarthen put in a lot of crosses, to be fair. But the left side was not feared in terms of crosses whatsoever in this entire match, which is why it felt like Trejo couldn't do a whole lot because everybody knew he was just trying to get to his right foot. There was no fear whatsoever of any cross at all. So again, long ball over the top. So what? This touch isn't perfect. It is what it is. You are stood up now, and maybe this is where the cross is. I think that, again, you put some pressure on this back line. You trust Ronaldo Damus back here. Trust somebody. Put a cross in. Or even right here, I wouldn't hate if Lasso had lined up a shot here. You even see, though, like, Trejo is calling for the ball. Like, check this out. As soon as Lasso gets it, Trejo is working himself into this half space. I think if Lasso sees this run on the back shoulder, this is a goal. Lasso doesn't see it, goes over to Moses, who attempts his first and only cross in the entire night. I don't know how much that's truly on Moses or how much that is just kind of props to Bruno Rendon, who was playing that right mid for them, who was all USL League One in terms of being a right wing back last year. He's very competent defensively. All right, so here's another nice long ball over the top. This is Enzo Martinez, kind of where he was playing. And Enzo Martinez looks his head up and finds a streaking player. And nothing can really come of this. It is what it is. Like, they got closed down pretty quick. I think that this is why you see the teams slow down, because they just go full bore the entire way. It's 1v3. You can't do anything. If you slow the ball up, it doesn't do too much. Soul clears away. But again, won back pretty well, and the chances created once again. And I think Tyler Pasher kind of cuts back outside, takes a shot, doesn't work out well, Enzo goes over the bar. All right. Here was a rough moment for Roof, but followed up by a good moment for Roof. Okay. So ball takes a hop that he's not fully prepared for. And this kind of happened all night. The turf was really being a demon to Legion all night long. The turf seemed to be a big issue. The ball kind of stopped, and it seemed to have bounced in a way that he wasn't ready for. And he tries to clear it away. And there's not much else he can do with this ball. He can try to touch it down to Fanwell, maybe. Maybe he passes it over to Rami Zamuda, who did leave this match with a concussion. But even then, he would be putting on pressure for Hamuda with a Malik Foster who's just kind of waiting. So he tries just to go over the top, and it's blocked. And now it's basically one-on-one with the goalkeeper. But Roof recovers well here. Look, yes, he does trip over the ball a little bit, but Roof puts him off. And he makes the mistake, but he puts him off. Delgado is able to make a catch on this very cleanly. Is it a mistake on Roof? Yes, but he does make up for it. Good on him. Here's some press for Legion coming in. And the press is kind of forcing some mistakes, but they're able to unlock this team again, going through over the top. This is where I found something interesting, though. When this team is in transition, this team, Legion, how are they defending? You're not going to believe this. It's the 4-2-3-1. So the way that they kind of played this match was it was kind of Jake Roof and Moses Mensah playing as the left back, right back, with Amuda and Famuel Kavita playing as the center backs. Sebastian Garthen was kind of playing as a right winger with Tyler Pasher tucking into the middle. Same thing with Trejo playing as with Trejo as well. And Enzo and Lasso were kind of playing a sort of double pivot-esque role where, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lasso was absolutely being the more defensive of the two, playing as a proper number 6. But you saw Trejo, Pasher, and Trejo, Pasher, and Enzo, all kind of playing as a number 10 at times. So it ends up being a 4-2-3-1. And it works well. Check this out, where we have Roof coming in and just touches it really well away. I mean, it's pretty simple. And if you look at the average positioning charts, it all looks like a 4-2-3-1 as well. Again, look at that. There's a 4-man back line. And we saw this a lot in this match. And touched away by Jake. And now it's a counterattacking opportunity the other way. And it works out somewhat decently. A ball up the line. We have a ball back over the back through ball. And this all comes, again, Legion thought they were caught out defensively, right? It looks like they were able to beat them over the top. That's what it looked like to everybody else. But Jake Roof does a great job of touching this ball away. And look what this turns into. It's an instant counterattack. Pass into one. Pass again. Now, here's the run. Sebastian Garthen making that run through the middle. Seba makes a fantastic run. Same run he's been making all night. Now we get the cross. Cross to the back post. And Ronaldo Damus is so clever here. Ronaldo Damus is so clever. He could have taken a shot here, but he was way off balance. This was if he tried to shoot, this ball was never going on target. He knows good and well that if he tries to head this ball goalward, it's an easy save. He heads it back across to Trejo, who, I mean, all credit to Schultz, who makes a great save, but Damus essentially created a goal here, and it wasn't finished by Trejo. Trejo does a great job to be in this position, but again, this is just so clever. Back post cross, perfect from Seba, and I mean, look at this. Ronaldo just places it perfectly to be a shot. And I think, again, a more informed Trejo finishes this. If Trejo was more informed, this match is already 2-0. Instead, it's still 0-0 at this point. But again, this is just such a clever ball. Clever. And then just a header across back over to a wide open Trejo who just doesn't finish. And now we're being joined by Al Unser Jr., apparently. And I have no idea what they're talking about. Did not hear this interview. But here you have kind of Trejo on the ball, who gives it away pretty cheaply. And now they're a little bit out of position. But check this out. Again, 4-2-3-1. 4-man in the back line. But the fourth person in this back line here is Lasso. Check this out. Lasso is the player tracking back here. You see Lasso kind of falls back when he sees that Mensah, who's at the top of your screen right now, had gone forward as he was supposed to. Lasso drops back. Lasso stands him up. Cannot get a shot away. It is 5v1. This is awesome defending. You don't want Trejo to put you into this position to begin with, right? Mensah's where he's supposed to be. Mensah's right where he's supposed to be. But look, I mean, he tries to pass it back to Rami Zamuda. It doesn't work. It's an immediate counterattacking opportunity. Lasso defends it well, and the entire team comes back to defend it as well. Again, there's not many options. Lasso ends up just going in, tackling away into corner. Unfortunately, this corner does lead to a goal, or it's one of the fallen corners. And this was just kind of an unfortunate one for me. I don't think there's much you can do here as this ball goes over the top, and you kind of have some players in split minds where you have, I believe that's Rami Zamuda, just kind of loses his man a little bit. Okay. He's already on his back a little bit. Can't get quite to him. It almost looks like he thinks that Fanuel Kavita has him. I'm not sure, but doesn't quite get there. It's a great cross, and it's a goal. A slightly misunderstood man marking assignment, and it leads to a goal. Those are the fine margins. Now here's another ball into this half space, chipped over top, doesn't quite work out. Counterattacking opportunity. What is Indy going to do with it? Again, check this defending out. It is 3-on-4. It's a decent position. Now, Roof is able to recover decently well. This is so nice. This is where you see just the calmness of Fanuel Kavita as well. I want you to watch Fanuel Kavita, who's at the very top of the very right of your screen, where he sees this ball come in, and you see him tell Jake fall off, right? Fanuel Kavita picks him up, forces him to pick up the ball. Jake Roof's already defending in the box. There's not an easy cross here. It goes over to the top of the box, but here's the issue. It ends up being a very good shot here, but no one closes this down. This is where you need Rami Zamuda running forward and just cutting down this angle because he allows Cam Lindley to take a shot fairly uncontested, right? As soon as this ball's touched here, Rami Zamuda needs to be coming out. He has helped defensively. He doesn't destroys the crossbar. It's still luckily 1-0 for Indy. Here's a ball touchdown. Clever little ball over the top. Doesn't quite work out. Again, Legion now in transition. How are they going to deal with this? Decently well. Slowed down enough. And this is a bit of a heart and throat moment where this is where we're seeing those slow transitions really kind of bite Legion in the backside, where, again, there's not a lot of speed in this back line. That's just the truth, right? And so they get caught out just a little bit. And it's a great pass. Let's not get this twisted. This is an amazing pass through. And it's a nice pass across, essentially 2v1 with the keeper. Delgado does a great job of pushing him wide. But, I mean, player has to finish. Indy player has to finish that. Has to. I think that you see transitions are what's killing this team. And not to answer Cole's question from the very beginning, what's causing Legion not to win these matches? What's causing them not to score? I think it's the issue with the defense as well. Slow transitions. I think that's it. I really think that's all it is. I mean, slow transition leads to what should be a goal. All right, here's a nice little moment where, again, this is just showing how good Ronaldo Damus is. I saw a lot of Ronaldo Damus bad. We hate Ronaldo Damus. I saw a lot of that going on. I beg you to look at what he does off the ball and on the ball. Does he miss a surefire goal? Yes. Does he miss the penalty? Yes. But I want you to look at the fact that, including this play that you're about to see, he single-handedly creates what should be 2 goals. Okay? Damus makes a nice run on the outside. His shirt is being ripped off of him. His shirt is being ripped off of him. He fights through it, catches 3 defenders out. 3 defenders are on him, and he is able to chip the ball into Trejo, who, again, if he's in form, it's a goal. But it's not, and that's fine. And maybe this angle's a little bit harder than I first realized, but even so, look at this. Look at what Damus creates. Yes, he didn't get the goal in this match, but it's not to say that he didn't create goals. Look at this. Look at what he created from absolutely sod all. Again, I think an informed Trejo scores. I do. But doesn't. And it's still 1-0 Indy. But that's not because of Damus. Damus was great. Here's another moment here where Indy kind of goes long ball over the top. And Roof is caught out, right? Roof is kind of on his own. But I want you to watch what he does positionally. He knows he's beat for speed. So ball goes over top. He knows he's beat for speed here. So what does he do? He gets immediately goal side. If Roof just tries to get in a foot race, this is a 1v1 with the keeper. Indy are up 2-0. But if you're a defender watching this, if you're a young defender, this is just clever. This is just clever. Roof bodies him. He gets a little bit physical with him, shoulder to shoulder, clean. Goes around, goal side. Instantly goal side, stops a counterattacking opportunity. Now, a good switch does come, but again, look at how much Jake Roof slowed him down. If Roof did not slow him down here, there is no help defensively whatsoever. It ends up being a little bit nothing, and the shot is nothing. That's why I didn't even include it. But, I mean, come on. That is just nice stuff from Jake Roof that is not going to get a lot of love. That, yes, he did get beat over the top. Not everybody's blessed with Saber Otaka Preston's speed. He was physical and smart with it and had wonderful positioning, slowed down this opportunity, ends up keeping a goal off the board. Here we see kind of picking the head up, looking around space. Again, here's Seba kind of tucking in, finds Tyler Pasher, who Pasher finds Enzo Martinez, who this is where I want you to, again, look at the gravity of Ronaldo Damus. Look at this. What he does off the ball is so impressive. What Ronaldo Damus does off the ball is so impressive. Nice triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 passes. Now, Enzo maybe could have played Danny Trejo in right here, or is that Preston? I'm not sure. Oh, it's definitely Danny Trejo. And he could have maybe played him in here. But look at what Damus does. He has 3 defenders on him. There is nobody closing down Enzo because they are so afraid of Ronaldo Damus. Look at that. Look at this. Seriously. If you're wondering why Damus isn't scoring goals, they have 3 men on him when he doesn't even have the ball. And Enzo is able to take a touch out, and because he's able to use the defender's momentum against them, and just sends it over the crossbar. But this does not happen, without some really nice passing. Again, just look at the passing. All starts with lasso here, but it's really nice. Just touch, pass, pass, pass. Again, 2 defenders on Damus, actively afraid of him. Enzo takes a nice touch outside. That chance is not created without Ronaldo Damus. It's just simply not. Here's some more of Legion just doing some nice things on the ball. Again, in possession, they're playing a 3-man back line. But there's a nice ball over the top. And, I mean, I don't know. I wish we had a higher cam so I could see exactly what Stefan Tregarthen does here. Because, like, it is just – I don't know how he gets so by himself. But, again, picks his head up. You have Thiago Suarez picks his head up, goes long over the top. Stefan Tregarthen right there. And I think that there's a world where maybe he should have headed this along to Damus, possibly. Because right here, I think that maybe the play is just to head it along to Damus. But I understand. He tries to take a touch, takes a second touch, and it forces an awful shot. But it revisionist history. Less than a minute later, literally less than a minute later, on the resulting goal kick, 2 chances Legion have to make this. As if you include the chances that I showcased earlier, where it should have been 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, if you include the 2 Trejo chances, or really 3 Trejo chances, this could be 3-0 right now. And 4-0 if you include the 7 chance, depending on how bullish you are on that opportunity. Less than a minute later, we have Enzo Martinez goes long over the top to Tyler Pasher. And maybe this is why I said that he should have headed along to Ronaldo Damus, because look at what Pasher does. Instead of trying to use his momentum to take a touch out, he just heads it along to Damus, and Damus should have scored. Like, Damus has to score. Has to. Absolutely has to score this. But, again, just it's the long ball over the top. We talked about this. Long ball into the half space. This team is getting good, guys. This team is getting really good. And Damus has to score. Has to. No ifs, ands, or buts. But either way, like, those chances happen back to back. You're seeing some really good play out of Legion right now. And here is the goal by Preston. And I want to explain why it works. So it's a low-driven ball. And Schultz has to cover a lot of bases here, where it's really nice from Preston because it's low-driven in. And so we have to respect the 2 headers right here. Schultz has to assume that somebody's going to make contact with this. Nobody does. So he's kind of caught flat-footed. That even if this is not going goalward, Ronaldo Damus is right there to finish it. Like, it's just a nice ball in, and it forces issues. It's just a clever free kick by Preston that I think deserves a lot of love. Obviously, it's going to be seen as a fluky goal, but I think it's really nice. You expect Thiago Suarez to get ahead to it. Everybody does. It doesn't, but it was just driven at such a pace that it could just go into the back of the net. Really cool stuff. Really good stuff. It earns Legion a point, and they are still alive for the Jägermeister Cup. And if it wasn't for that goal, Legion would not be in the contention that they are. If they win, they are in. Now, tomorrow, it is going to be Wednesday. Legion are taking on Charleston Battery, one of the best teams in the league. Just go and watch how good Charleston is, because I think Legion can give them a game. I really do. I think that Legion has shown growth. If they can do what they did on Saturday, I think they can truly take it to Charleston.
mainly because I don't think Charleston, knowing Ben Pierman, he's not going to bunker. McCauley will absolutely bunker and just go turtle shell and just try to survive. Ben Pierman's not like that. I think Legion can take advantage of the fact that Pierman does not want to just turtle shell hide, right? I think Legion has a good chance. Also, you definitely want to go because I've heard some things that might be for sale and some really cool stuff that might be at the match besides the fireworks. And hopefully those fireworks are lots of goals. Be there, be square, have a good time. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, guys, keep hammering on.